Another recent film is Portrait of a Lady on Fire. This was released a while ago, art house film released to theaters. And I know I keep bringing up theaters. Sorry to, poke a sore spot. It was in theaters until everything closed. It is now available on Hulu as of, I believe, today, as of the Tuesday this week. So you can, I'm not sure, now I don't do the Hulu thing, so I'm not sure if it's just free on Hulu or if it's a paid rental on Hulu, but I do know that it's there. This was really good. This is set in, I'm not good with dates, the olden times when people wore uncomfortable looking clothing and could not love. This is the story of a woman who is an artist, I believe in France. It's a foreign film. There's subtitles, sorry. But who cares? It's a good movie. Woman is sent to this remote location to paint this young woman who is notorious for not wanting to cooperate and not wanting to have her portrait painted, and who is soon to be married off to someone, and they want a formal portrait of the woman. And this woman artist, female artist who's hired, is intended to act as though she works for the household and befriend the woman whose portrait she'll be painting, and basically steal glances enough to remember that, make little sketches surreptitiously, and craft a portrait basically from memory of this woman. The two women form a bond over time. That bond becomes very strong and more than just a bond. And this is the story of basically, I always used to use this as a joke to disparage Merchant Ivory films, because Merchant Ivory films back in the 90s, the posters were always two people staring off into separate distances, and they were about people who could not love. This is sort of that. If this was a Merchant Ivory film, that would be the poster. But this is, it's a beautiful film. Beautiful in subject matter, beautiful in execution, and certainly how it's shot. It is very painterly. Now the imagery is conveyed. It's very, the compositions look like a painting. There's so much like texture in the movie that, and if you see me looking off, I am literally looking out a window if I break your gaze. Sorry about that. It's a lovely gray day outside. So Portrait of a Lady on Fire is about art, is about subject, the relationship between artist and subject. It is about relationships in general. It is about relationships that are frowned upon for a multitude of reasons. And it's a very poetic and moving and loving and ultimately, and I'm not giving anything away, ultimately kind of a sad movie. But I saw this on the big screen at the Alamo Drafthouse, Raleigh, North Carolina, which is amazing, and I'm going to talk about separately later. And it was a wonderful experience. It was not a very well attended film, I think, because the virus was starting to thin out the herd in terms of people leaving their house at that point. And it was a movie that had been out for a while at a late show on a weeknight. But it's something I would very highly recommend. This is a film that, who knows about awards season coming up. I don't think this was released far enough back to qualify for the Oscars last year, but it's the kind of thing that probably would this year if people remember it or if it gets a good enough campaign. I would recommend it to people who aren't afraid to read subtitles. I would recommend it to people who are interested in the arts, who are interested in painting and days gone by. The costumes, as I joked, are back when people wore very heavy, uncomfortable looking clothing. Performances are very good, mostly for people you won't recognize, but it was interesting for me to see Valeria Golino, who I remember from Big Top Pee-wee and a few movies back in the late 80s, now as a much older woman, but she still clearly is the same person. And it was just interesting seeing somebody in a movie who I hadn't seen or really thought about in 30-something years. So out now on Hulu, and eventually or soon probably on home video. And again, because of the weird situation we're in, probably not going to show up in theaters again, because I have a feeling that when the theaters open up again, they're going to have all this product that's been waiting to get released, and it's going to be like Christmas morning as far as new releases go. So at any rate, I will be back in just a few moments or days, depending on how and when you watch this, to talk about another thing that I saw in the theater and a lot more stuff that I saw on video. And I'll keep doing this every day because, I'm kind of watching movies. I finally have time. I have time enough at last, as Burgess Meredith once said, to watch movies. Hope you are well. Wash your hands, don't touch your face, and don't lick doorknobs.